This episode of the Oranges and Orange Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network, is brought to you by our presenting sponsors, Aligned Health Center and The Place. Aligned Health Center is the first chiropractic biophysics clinic in Northern Ohio, serving patients in the Westlake and Beechwood, Ohio areas. The team at Aligned Health Center helps patients with back pain, neck pain, migraines, ADHD, digestive issues, sleep disturbance, whiplash, scoliosis, and much more. If you're experiencing any of those symptoms, reach out to Aligned Health Center today. The mission is simple: to help people in the Westlake and Beechwood areas achieve the best possible health and overall wellness. Call Aligned Health Center today at 440-230-6865 or visit the website at alignedhealthcenters.com to make an appointment. To learn more about how Aligned Health Center can help you, visit their website at alignedhealthcenters.com. Check them out so they can help you on your way to better overall health wellness. This episode was also brought to you by The Place. The Place is the place for all of your hot tub, spa, fireplace, and outdoor grill needs. The Place has been in business for 52 years, all family owned and operated. They're a full service fireplace and spa super shop. They have a 16,000 square foot showroom with over 40 live burning fireplaces and 40 hot tubs and swim spas on display. They've been voted North America's #1 service center by Coast Spas 2 of the last 4 years. Visit The Place on 2377 Medina Road today to transform your backyard into the backyard of your dreams. When you think of fireplaces, hot tubs, grills, and patios, think The Place. In this mega Thanksgiving Day special episode, Jeremy and I break down the Browns' victory over the Dolphins last Sunday. We look at silver linings and pass out some game balls. I eat crow on my Joe Schobert kind of dislike, and he is the man. He's playing fantastic. Joe, love you, buddy. Good job. We also preview the Pittsburgh Squeelers rematch on Sunday, the 1 p.m. kickoff in Pittsburgh. Jeremy and I look at the game preview. We look at narratives, and then we make our bold predictions and keys to the game. Looking forward to the game. Jeremy thinks the Steelers are selling a lot of tickets to the Browns. This could be the changing of the guard that we need and that we expect. Big game on Sunday. It is not an over-exaggeration to say our season hangs in the balance. Well, no matter what happens, we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you for listening. Enjoy time with the family. Enjoy food. Honestly, at the end of the day, none of this is really a big deal. Love matters, family matters, and time with them you cannot take away. Enjoy your weekend. Have fun. God bless, and go Browns. Jim Donovan, take us away.
45-40, run, William, run! He's got blockers in front, 5, touchdown! Joshua Cribbs! Snap back, ball down, can't block! They blocked the kick!
This is the Oranges, Orange Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I am your host, Chase Smith, and with me, as always, Browns insider, Jeremy Powell. Jeremy, happy Thanksgiving, brother.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving. Chase, guess what we got?
What?
A playoff chase, baby.
Meaningful
we got
football
a playoff chase.
Let's go. Let's get things started with 5 hot minutes with Jeremy Powell, presented by our good friends at Online Motor Credit. Jeremy, go.
You know what's funny, Chase? It drives me nuts, and we've talked about this before, how fans do not understand that in the NFL it doesn't matter how you win. It's just winning, right? I saw so much stuff this week. I can't believe the Browns give up 24 points. Just stop. It's the NFL. Both teams get paid. The Browns won a big game to pull them within one game of the second wild card spot, and I hear fans crying about how they won. We put 40-plus points on the board, okay? We were up 28-0. It was our biggest lead since like 1989 at halftime. Enjoy it. You have to enjoy the ride. You have to realize that in the NFL, both teams have players that are getting paid millions of dollars. No matter how bad a team is, there are some good players on that team that can make plays. The Browns won. You know what's funny, Chase? The game almost went exactly how I predicted it, didn't it? I think I predicted like 41-14. It was or 41-17, something like that. At one point, that was the exact score. They scored a garbage touchdown late that meant 0. The Browns were up 28-0. They dominated the game. It doesn't matter that the Dolphins made some plays in the second half. That happens no matter what. Okay, I think the early in the season when the Dolphins were struggling incredibly bad, the Patriots beat them 30-16. This is a big win. It's a good win. We got to show off all our weapons. Guess who scored touchdowns this week? Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, all scored touchdowns. That is exactly what we needed to see going into the Steelers game. We had, I don't remember, 460 yards of total offense. Jarvis and Odell combined for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. Nick Chubb went over 100 yards again. This is exactly what we needed going into that Steelers game. There's no such thing as an ugly win, and this, my friends, was not an ugly win.
You know, I was texting one of my best friends. He's a Tennessee Titans fan, and I said, Connor, is this what it's like when your teams are supposed to take care of business? Like, I can't remember, honestly, Jeremy, a time where especially when the Browns are favored by more than 10 points, but then for us to take care of business and do what we were supposed to do, I mean, that's what elite teams do, Jeremy. Where
some of our fans forget that we were 131 over just 2 years ago, right? I mean, let's win games and be happy about winning games. I will never be so arrogant that I'll be upset over a win. I'll tell you that.
You know, we took care of business. We didn't even play down to the competition. I mean, there was a little lull there.
It was 28-0. You got up 28-0. Watch any NFL game where you get out to a big lead. There's going to be a natural lull. And like we said, the other teams get paid. They're going to make a couple plays eventually. When you're up 28-0, you can't play the exact same defense that you played up to that point. It's just not how it works in the NFL. Really, you're trying to shorten the game and run the clock out so no one gets hurt. It was a big win. It was a dominating win. Don't let anyone tell you differently.
You know, Freddie's got to figure out this third quarter thing. This is the second straight game that we're just like, what is going on here? But we got out to a lead early, and it felt good. Jeremy, I think only like playoff – I mean, some of these even playoff teams, they don't do this like they're supposed to. I know it's the Dolphins, and everyone looks like –
look at this. Think about this, Chase, compared to us. Remember when we were 1-31? We had the moniker we almost always win. Remember that?
Yeah.
Because we were always close with good teams. Right? Because it's the NFL. Even though the worst team in the league has a ton of talent, the worst players on the worst team were the best players in college. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody has talent. Take the win. Be happy. We dominated. We put up 28 points before they scored. Baker was fantastic. At one point, he was 13 of 15 with 3 touchdowns. Be happy.
Yeah. Final score, 41-24. These are Baker's stats. Baker's played lights out really the past month and a half. Baker, 24-34, 327 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, which again was off OBJ's hands, a little behind him on the slant.
Yeah, that's strictly on Baker. That you can't throw a slant that close, that hard, that behind. That was on Baker, but that's all right. 1 bad pass, big deal.
Depends on your role of receiver. If it hits your hands, you got to catch it. Just depends on where you stand. I know it's a bad throw. So anyway, 118 pass rate, absolutely dropping dimes all over the field. Jeremy, you start looking at the Browns schedule, and I'm not trying to get too far ahead here. We got the Steelers this Sunday. We'll talk about here in a minute. The Bengals after that. The Cardinals after that.
People keep saying they're worried about the Cardinals. The Cardinals over the last 6 weeks are the worst passing defense in the league. The worst. They're giving up a passer rating on average of 110. Okay?
If we beat the Dolphins like we did, there's no way we should struggle against the Cardinals.
They'll be like the Dolphins. They'll score some points on us, but we should be able to score at will on them. Similar kind of game. The whole season hinges on this Sunday, and this is a Pittsburgh team we're coming up against that is way more beat up than us. We're going to get Olivier Vernon back. We're getting Larry Ogunjobi back. They are missing Pouncey. They're missing Ben Roethlisberger, obviously, and now they're on to a 1AA rookie, Duck, named Duck. Juju's not playing. James Conner said on the radio today he's not even close to being ready. This is a team with no weapons, missing their center, a 1AA quarterback. They will not be able to score if we don't give them the ball in a position to score. There is no excuses this week if you're the Browns. You need to win this game, and you need to win this game convincingly.
Let's pump the brakes on the Steelers talk. We're going to devote a whole back into this podcast to the
Steelers. Yeah. I know.
I want to spend some time and just enjoy this. We scored 28 points before the Dolphins even scored any. If we did this against a team like the Dolphins who have won 2 games, We play the Bengals, who are 0-11. Now, granted, they just started Andy Dalton.
Big deal. Doesn't matter. Their defense is awful.
Jeremy, it is not unrealistic to look at this and say, man, we beat the Bills, a very good Bills team somehow, right?
Yeah.
Why can't we finish 10-6, 9-7? Like, that is not unrealistic. If we took care of business like this, and if this team is rallying together and saying us against the world, one game at a time, 1-0, dude, watch out. Because Baltimore comes to Cleveland, and you don't want to play in First Energy Stadium. Well, you don't now, right?
Well, I think if we win this game, I think our floor is 9-7. If we beat the Steelers this week, I think we're going to go 9-7. And if you start looking at the matchups with the teams ahead of us in the playoffs, something's going to give. The Titans and Raiders play each other. The Raiders play the Chiefs this week, in Kansas City. So the teams in front of us have the Bills have like the toughest schedule in the league, starting with the Cowboys tomorrow. So, we got a real shot. It's legit. It's 28% now, but it jumps to 51% if we win Sunday of us making the playoffs. So I just this week, man, if we can come out and take care of business, do what we should do this week, it's going to be awesome.
I'm trying to find this tweet. I couldn't find where it was. With Baker's win on Sunday at First Energy, he moves into like third all-time of the all-time winningest quarterbacks in First Energy Stadium history. Did you see that tweet?
It's like Ben Roethlisberger is one, and Derek Anderson's two.
Yeah.
And then Baker Mayfield and Joe Flacco is on that list.
He is. He has 5 wins.
Andy Dalton is on there.
And so all of a sudden, Baker can really quickly, as early as next season, jump into really, I'm not going to say elite company because that's a sorry-ass list, but it's just a lot of good things. We are in the midst of our franchise quarterback growing up, becoming an NFL starting Jeremy, he's still a top 10, top 15 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, I know.
There's no doubt.
Whenever you look at
I'm back on. When you look at he's played exactly how he played last year over the last 5 weeks. It just what happened was they underestimated how long it was going to take for them to gel. That's what happened. They probably didn't, like we talked about, they probably didn't put in as much work as they should have. They probably didn't anticipate it being this rough, but now they're there. They're there now. You watch him and Odell at practice. They're loosey-goosey. They're ready. They understand. They got it. They're ready to play some ball. I'm excited for Sunday. I'm excited for the rest of the season to see how this offense goes. And 3-0 since we got Hunt in there. I saw a stat today. The Browns are averaging in the 59 plays them two have been on the field together. It's 7.9 yards a play, which would be first in the league.
Yeah. Chubb against the Dolphins, 21 attempts, 106 yards, a touchdown. Kareem Hunt, his first rushing touchdown for the Browns, 8 attempts, 37 yards. You had a tweet, Jay, about the return of the bell cow running back. You want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, well, because the last few years they've just been talking about the bell cow running back is a thing of the past in the NFL. Well, that's not true. It's back. It's back this year in a big way. There's already, I can't remember the exact number.
It's like 211 and 17 or something like that.
Yeah, there's 10 running backs already that have 200 or more carries already this year. Yeah. They're averaging around 20 carries a game. Here's another stat for you. The top 7 running backs in the league right now were all drafted in the first or second round. Remember the whole people saying, oh, you don't need to draft a running back high. Just get one anywhere. They're a dime a dozen. Well, that's trend starting to turn as well. The top guys are performing at the highest level. Surprise, surprise. And like I said, there's 10 plus guys averaging 20 carries a game. Pretty incredible.
Yeah. We looking at who else scored here. I mean, this really could not have worked out any better. If you were looking to spread this evenly, OBJ, 6 receptions, 84 yards, a touchdown. Jarvis, 10 receptions, 148, 2 touches against his former team. Just an incredible offensive display. And
the play, let me tell you about the play was beautiful when Odell Beckham scored the touchdown on the 39-yarder. The whole stadium. Now, our boy Hollywood Higgins was open as well, but the whole stadium saw him break open, and you heard a collective Odell from the crowds, like all at the same time before the ball went in the air. Yeah. And then Baker throws an absolutely gorgeous ball and touchdown, and it was a thing of beauty. Odell's touchdown celebration was cool. It's like he stopped and looked around like I've never been here before. It's nice to get here. It was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, and just to kind of reiterate, a bell cow back is a running back, a workhorse back who takes all the carries, doesn't really split carries, and
Right.
normally they have around 250 or 275 attempts per season. There was a trend where running backs they didn't want to wear them out. We talked about this on the pod earlier. Like I was fine
Sure.
with Chubb getting 15 or so carries for that reason, for his longevity. But you're right, Jay. They really are focusing on this run game. And I don't think that's really going to lighten up as we near the end of the season, especially as it gets colder and we get to some of these playoff type atmospheres. You want to control the clock. You have anything else for 5
Right.
hot minutes, Jay?
No, but let me touch a little bit on that. You think coming in here in a couple weeks, December 8th, that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to want to tackle Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb repeatedly over and over and over again? No, that's what's so great about having two of these big, tough, strong, hard to tackle running backs. In the cold, people are just not going to want to tackle them. Yeah. It's going to be a very, very fun to see. Now, the Arizona game is going to be different because we're going out to Arizona, and I'm sure our players are going to love that, especially Odell and Baker and, those guys getting to air it out a little bit. But yeah, the bell cow running back is back, and we got two of them, baby.
I don't want to get too far ahead, but looking at the other teams in the wild card, we are the most dangerous team, and no one would want to play us. We have the best quarterback, the best running backs. And I mean, you look
receivers.
At Bills, no way. Raiders, I mean, I don't know how.
Nope.
I see them dropping off. Texans, I even think people would be more afraid to play us than the Texans. You're telling me you're scared
of the Texans. I would say the Texans are the one because they got DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson. I mean, they got a great quarterback, great
That's
receiver.
It, though. They have no line, no running back, and not even a second receiver.
They do. Carlos Hyde's having a great year. He's 9th in the league in rushing. He's having a career year, and Duke Jackson has been decent in the third down role. I would say if you're rating, and they're going to win that division anyway. The wild card is going to come down to Buffalo, Oakland, us, Tennessee, the Steelers, but I don't really believe the Steelers are in there. That's your teams right there. It's going to be two of those teams.
I tweeted the moment we traded Duke Johnson. I've pinned it to my profile. The Browns will play the Texans in the playoffs, and Duke Johnson will fumble the football. And
that's not out of their own possibility right now.
I really feel good about that prediction. That would I'll pin that up with the rest of my other genius Browns predictions that have come true. We won't talk about the ones that haven't come true, but we'll talk about that, I'm sure, at Game Balls here in just a few seconds. Well, that does it for 5 hot minutes with Jeremy Powell, presented by our good friends at Online Motor Credit. Online Motor Credit is a family-owned and operated business, the area's first zero-interest in-house financing. They offer zero-interest in-house financing because they understand life happens. It's hard. Sometimes it's tight, and they want to help you get the best car that you can. Providing good cars to good people at great prices is Online Motor Credit's motto. They provide a full-service garage with certified techs on hand every single day to help you with brakes, tune-ups, and suspension work to air conditioning service. Online Motor Credit provides good work at great prices. Located in Ravenna, Ohio, this NFL season, make Online Motor Credit your first down stop in car shopping. Visit their website at onlinemotorcars.net. If you use promo code ORANGE19 at checkout, you'll receive 10% off a brake job or any service work. Also mentioning ORANGE19 during the purchase of a car receives a free oil change for a year. All you have to do is mention Orange19 when you buy a car. Online Motor Credit, providing good cars to good people at great prices. Jeremy, Browns silver lining, and I have two I want to run by you. All right, we won. That's great. Our playoff hopes are still alive. Blah 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 blah. But here's what I like about this: the Browns have depth, right? The Browns clearly have depth. I know O-line's a little suspect. We look at the skill positions. You look at receivers, running backs, even the D-line. Sheldon Richardson balled out, and that was without two of our best pass rushers. Chad Thomas played well. We have depth, and I look at the Steelers who are injured, who are ravaged by injuries. I don't see depth like we have. Do you agree with that?
To a point, I think their D-line is pretty deep as well. They could probably absorb some injuries there. But yeah, I mean, the Browns have shown that's pretty good depth. I like Chad Thomas. I know everybody in the Twitter mob hates him, and they've been going after him. He has 3 sacks. He's played really well. He was the second highest graded edge defender by PFF this week. I thought he showed some really nice athleticism, some really nice moves on the outside. I don't know if I agree. I'd say we're probably pretty similar to a lot of teams as far as depth on defense. I think on offense we had depth. I mean, you could lose somebody and not miss a beat. I mean, now we're going to probably get David Njoku back this week. You haven't missed him a ton the last few weeks. So yeah, we have good depth because we have some playmakers. our depth is definitely being tested on defense because we've been missing so many guys.
Yep.
But it's going to be nice to get Larry Ogunjobi back this week, and it looks like Olivier Vernon, who practiced today. So yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
I think back to the first part of the season when we had a lot of injuries in our secondary, and really our secondary, especially against the Rams, they played fantastic.
And the Ravens.
Yeah,
and we had
right. Yeah, that was was that the first? That was the second game of the backup.
fourth
right?
game. Yeah, the fourth. Yes,
Ravens was the
the
third
backup
game.
corners.
Yeah.
When we had Mitchell and T.J. Carey, who are both really good players, and they're both playing a big role now still.
Yeah.
Some might say that Money Mitch is better than Greedy, but yeah, we definitely have depth at the corner spot, which is important in this league.
So
we have 4 healthy, good corners.
Aside from the easy headlines, Browns still in the playoffs. Browns roll. Browns win as expected. Silver lining: the Browns have depth, and it is crazy to think that 2 seasons ago we did not win a game. We mentioned this would be the quickest turnaround in NFL history. We're seeing teams try to do this: Dolphins, Redskins, Bengals, and we'll see what happens. Another silver lining, Jay: the Browns have top QB play again. Baker's playing like an elite quarterback, one that we missed the first part of the season. We've seen flashes. We've seen that P-word potential that I hate, but he is, for the past month and a half, playing like a top QB against the top defenses in the league. And that is exciting. And that's what you want. You don't want to peak too early, but you want to peak. We don't have time to not peak. We have to win out. We really do. Our playoffs started 2 weeks ago.
1-0. Like I said, 1 week at a time. The schedule makers did us no favors. Okay, you know that I saw another stat tonight. Baker has played 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 10, whatever it is.
Yeah,
the top defenses in the league.
Yep.
When you start out Tennessee, which that was one we probably let that get away that we should have won. But you had the Rams, you had the 49ers, you had the Ravens, you had all the Patriots week after week after week. Even Denver's defense, one of the best defenses, was like, oh my gosh, Bills defense. All these top defenses in a row. It's no wonder Baker struggled early. When you got a new team, new coach, new weapons, and you come out of the gate playing tough teams, that's a tough ask. And the reason our schedule came out the way it did is because of the NFL, because they knew we were hot. They wanted us to get us on the primetime games early in the season and then also cover them in case we did fall on our face. So that's why we ended up with marquee matchups early in the season, which stunk for us. Would have been nice to have more, of those easier games in the back end of the schedule and the front end to get on a roll. But you got to play the hand you're dealt, and now's our chance to get fat on these teams.
Jay, I have another silver lining I want to run by you.
Go.
With this win against the Dolphins, did Freddie save his job?
He's on his way. I told you that. I mean, I think if they go 8-8 or better, he'll be back next year.
8-8's the magic number. What if it's 7-9?
I think so. I think they'll have a conversation.
I think he saved his job with this win. I think this win showed that he can do what NFL coaches are supposed to do. And I see this team rallying. I see this team play that they believe they can win. They believe they should win. And I think that's part of what a coach should do, man. You can game plan and say everything you want, but at the end of the day, your team, your players have to go out and do the job on the field. And if you can put your players in those positions, and I'm going to sound like Freddie right now, but if you can put your players in position to succeed, you've done your job and you leave it up to them. And they haven't given up. He hasn't lost the locker room. And right now, the Browns players believe that they belong in the playoffs. They believe they're one of the best teams, and they're playing like it.
The players seem to like him. I mean, you don't hear any, negative talk about him. The players seem to like Freddie. Now, we've talked about before that could be a detriment at times if the players are too close to the coach. But, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about the players liking Freddie Kitchens, no doubt.
Yeah. Any other silver linings for the Browns victory over the Dolphins on Sunday?
No, it was nice to see OBJ and Jarvis have a big game together on the field. That was fun. That was cool to see. It was something we needed to see. And just seeing all our playmakers score touchdowns, that's another silver lining to me, because it just shows you what the capabilities are when we're clicking.
Yep. Let's pass out some game balls to the game. I'll go first. because I want to give a ball
I know who
to
you're going to say.
Mr. Joe Schobert. Listen, man, I gave him some crap at the start of the season, but he has really, I think when Kirksey went out, really stepped up and kind of is mentoring Mac Wilson and really playing some of the best football he's ever played in his life, Jay. So I, Chase Smith, give a game ball to Joe Schobert. I do. Congratulations, Joe, man. You're the man.
The funniest thing that happened this week, did you see the Instagram post by Schobert?
He and Mac?
No, him and Nick Chubb of all people.
No.
He put oh, this is so funny. So he put something like 2 times 2 for his 2 pick games, 2 in a row equals 4, for interceptions.
Yeah.
And Nick Chubb of all people, who doesn't say anything, commented underneath it, "Bro, you got tackled by a tight end." Because he did. He should have scored a touchdown on the one. I thought that was pretty freaking hilarious, especially coming from Nick Chubb. So then Joe Schobert shot back at Nick Chubb and said, "Bro, I see lots of people tackle you."
Yeah.
I just thought it was a pretty hilarious, pretty hilarious conversation, if you will, on social media from 2 guys that are kind of, reserved. And I just thought it was a really funny little exchange there.
Joe Schobert, 5 tackles, 2 assists, 2 interceptions. On the Next Man Up podcast with Kenny Rhoda and Dennis Maniloff, they mentioned that there have only been like a handful of players who have had 4 interceptions over 2 games as a linebacker. There's like 3 in the past 40 years, and Joe's one of them.
Wow.
So
incredible.
Good job by you, Joe Schobert. You have a game ball you want to give away?
Yeah, I do actually, and I want to give it to Nick Chubb again because once again, a workman-like effort, 100 yards. Again, he's over 1,100 yards. He's got the best season in Browns history through 11 games for anyone not named Jim Brown. What he's doing, I think we are taking for granted. His rushing numbers are almost identical to Christian McCaffrey as far as carries, yards, average. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry, Chase. You know how rare that is? He's averaging over 5 yards a carry with over 200 carries. It really is an incredible number. We give a lot of crap to the Browns offensive line, but both their running backs are averaging 5 yards plus a carry. So, they're doing something right somewhere there. You can't do it all on your own, but it's just a testament. What a guy, what a player, what a pick. Nick Chubb gets a game ball from me.
And we're going to talk about the Steelers in just a few moments. I have another game ball. I want to stick on offense. It's not going to go to Baker, not going to go to OBJ, but Mr. Jarvis Landry,
Yes.
his former team, a team who honestly allowed this perception of a negative attitude, of a bad leader, of someone who only cares about themselves, allowed that to kind of be the perception of Jarvis Landry, who has come to this team and has taken this wide receiver room, aside from Antonio Callaway. We don't know what happened there behind the scenes. You can only do so much, but who has been the lifeblood of the Cleveland Browns. 10 receptions, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was on a mission. It was incredible. I love him, and definitely some of his clothes are on my Christmas wish list, Jay. Jarvis Landry, had yourself a game, man. Good job.
Yes, sir. I agree 100%.
One more on defense. Sheldon Richardson, I thought, had a great game as well. 5 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 fumble forced. Really stepped up when we needed someone to rush the quarterback. So Sheldon Richardson, good job, brother. That's why we signed you, and it's nice to see you kind of doing your thing. Anyone else you can think of?
No, I think we touched everybody. That was a good game ball session for a good game.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk about the Steelers. All right, this mega Thanksgiving episode, Jeremy, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, a game that I think a lot of fans have been looking forward to since that Thursday night game already. Browns in Pittsburgh. Let's do a little game preview action. Do you know the line to this game, dude?
Well, I know it's swung pretty drastically. I think it started at 3-point dogs for the Browns, and now the Browns are 2 or 3 point favorites.
The Browns actually opened as 1.5 point favorites.
Okay.
And I think it has gone up a little bit. I'm only seeing 1.5 here, but I have heard it has gone up. The Browns are favored in Pittsburgh for the first time in 30, 40 years.
1989.
89, 30 years. Unbelievable. Other breaking news. Mason Rudolph is benched for this game, and it was a really, really telling interview
Mike
that
Tomlin
Mike
quote.
Tomlin gave making that
Unbelievable,
announcement.
wasn't it?
Yeah, he
I
said,
mean, after all that's happened with Mason Rudolph in these last few weeks, for him to say what you're about to say was unbelievable.
Mike Tomlin said, Duck's not going to kill us. What do you expect Duck to do? I'm not going to put the expectations on Duck. He's just not going to kill us. Really telling. It's really, really fascinating with the developments of the, obviously, Myles Garrett incident. Other kind of rumors that the Steelers aren't going to allow fans wearing the Myles Garrett jersey in. That's not true. The Steelers debunked that. But I think they allowed that to leak so they could debunk
on purpose.
To discourage people. All sorts of shenanigans. Bottom line, Pittsburgh sucks. They're the worst, and they can't handle losing. And it's going to be amazing when the Browns go to
Their
Heinz
fans
Field.
are awful. Oh, my gosh. Their fans are so bad.
They really are
Can't
the
even
worst.
stand it.
They really are the worst. If we go in and clap them, it is just going to be the best. Jeremy, you had an interesting tweet again today. The Steelers fans are selling their tickets. What have you heard about that?
Well, there's a big and I actually heard today the game's not even officially sold out. Browns fans are buying up the tickets. I saw one group has 16 buses going. So it's going to be very interesting to see what that crowd looks like. You know what's funny is what we don't actually see here, but what's going on locally is there's a big fight in Steelers country over Tomlin. Half the fans love them and half the fans want to see him go. So there's like internal strife there anyway. The crowds over the last few years, I know you've seen it on TV, the tickets have been sold, but people haven't been going to the games. Kind of weird, dynamic going on in Pittsburgh. So yeah, it's going to be the thing is, I don't think their fans are near as fired up about this as we are, about the whole situation, for whatever reason. So it'll be very interesting to see the stands.
I think a couple things. Looking at Steelers Twitter, and I'm not an expert on Steelers Twitter at all. I could give two rips about Steelers Twitter.
No, me neither.
But they were freaking out during the Bengals game. When the Bengals had a lead and Mason Rudolph was playing like Dookie, they were freaking out. I think they turned on Rudolph in the middle of that Browns game. And I think when they had that altercation and the way that they saw Mason Rudolph handle it, it was pretty indefensible. It was arrogant, and I think they had flipped on him before all that happened. And so
you saw a lot of the league punished us by not suspending Mason tweets, right?
Yep. They are split on Tomlin, but they are not split on Mason Rudolph. My barber, he's a Steelers fan. His name's Leif, and we have so many awesome conversations. He was screaming for Duck to come in the game. He's pumped that Duck is starting. And so I think this move that Tomlin made, it's not a like gasp move. They're pretty excited about this switch. They want to see what they got in Duck.
Here's the facts. Duck is a 1AA quarterback for a reason coming in, right? He's undrafted for a reason coming in. In that game, people say, oh, he was 4 for 11 minus one pass that if you watch was all James Washington. He didn't really do much.
Yeah.
That defense is horrific. The Bengals defense is horrific. The Bengals have some players on offense, right? Their secondary is awful. That is an awful football team, and they looked horrible. He went 4 for 11 outside of one pass, so for like 36 yards. So before they get too carried away with excitement, let's remember that he is a 1AA quarterback. There's no Juju Smith-Schuster. There's no James Conner. There's no Maurice Pouncey. All right? This is going to be a struggle for them to move the ball. And I think they probably know that in their hearts. The only way they're going to win the game is or score points, at least we'll say, is if we give them the game and give them points. It's going to have to come from turnovers and big plays by their defense. And I think the Browns are at a point right now. I talked about this a few weeks ago. Even before we started winning games, our offense was moving the ball at will. Remember the Denver game? We talked about this. We've been even against New England. We moved the ball at will against New England.
Seattle.
We just had unfortunate turnovers, all those games. We're at a point now where I think our offense is so good, we can move the ball on anyone. We're going to move the ball up and down the field. So as long as we stop, play like we've been playing the last 3 or 4 weeks, we are going to win this game. It's one of the first times I can say going into Pittsburgh, I feel really, really good about this game. Just one of the first times I feel really, really good about going into this game. I mean, I usually have this feeling in the pit of my stomach when we're going into Pittsburgh. I mean, and this isn't just my heart. This is my head. When you look at all the players they are missing, their struggle to move the ball, and the way we're playing right now, we've clicked, we found something. I mean, talent wins in the NFL. There's not a team that can put, Mike Tomlin himself said it. He said, look, tell me how to defend a team with Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. all on the field at the same time. He's like, what do you do?
He says that now because he
What do you
yawned
take
in the
away?
beginning of the season. He yawned at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. But he was just playing a head game. He knows when you look at this, when you look at those four on the field, what do you do? What do you do? You know what I mean? You can't take everybody away in the NFL. Yeah. There's not, so it's going to be, I think the Browns are going to win. I think, and I'm confident in that. I can say that with it, and feel good about it.
Yeah, we are here with our House of Hoodies game preview with Jeremy Powell and Narratives, talking about Browns and Steelers. Jay, here's a couple notes I want to make about the Browns and Steelers. Minka Fitzpatrick, he didn't do much against our game Thursday night, but he has 8 takeaways this season. They traded a first-round pick for him, unprotected. Obviously, a pretty controversial trade. At the time, they hadn't won a game, and you're thinking, oh, my gosh, this is going to be a top 5 pick. Now they're at least in the playoff conversation. Baker, the last 4 games, this is from NFL.com, has a 90-plus passer rating in 4 straight games, the longest streak of his career. All right. The Browns, listen to this, the offensive efficiency for the Browns. The Browns are one of 2 teams since week 10 with 27 points per game and fewer than 2 giveaways. So the Browns are taking care of the football. They're moving the ball at an incredible rate. And you're right. I don't look at the Steelers team and think, man, the Browns have to be careful. If Juju's out and Connor's out, I don't know what Duck is going to – like, what's he going to do? Now, this is what concerns me, Jeremy. This is what concerns me. You look at these quarterbacks who have come in their first game, the Denver quarterback, Allen. You have the Carolina Panthers quarterback, Allen, I think, too, right? He's another Allen. There's like 5 Allens.
Yeah.
These quarterbacks who come in the first game and because there's no video, because there's no footage, they have an incredible first game. It's not until games 4, 5, 6 where you start.
Right, but Devlin has a start. Devlin started a game. Hodges started a game earlier this year, so there's tape on him. Teams have seen him play.
Think it's a lot of tape. I mean, yeah, they have seen him play.
But he started, after Mason, the whole helmet situation where they took his face mask off and he had to stop the next week. So he played. They know at least a little bit what he can do. Now, let me talk a little bit about that Allen situation in Denver. They had Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant. They had weapons, right? They have Phillip Lindsay. They have good running backs, good weapons. I mean, think about this touchdown. Remember the touchdown Cortland Sutton scored on that fade route? Ward was running the route for him. It was just a freak luck, great catch. The second one was Noah Fant running over Isaiah Whitehead on a 70-yard play. It was 2 big lucky plays that cost us that game.
Was that the play that kind of made him flip his mind?
Yeah, it was kind of funny because my son said it. I told you this. Remember, my 9-year-old Hunter said at the time, he goes, if Demarius Randall played, they don't score that touchdown. And he was right. Demarius Randall is a great tackler and a big safety.
Yeah.
And Noah Fant doesn't run through him like he did Whitehead on that play. So those were 2. We literally lost that game on 2 plays.
I would just rather play a quarterback who's in game 8 and 9 than 1.5 or 2.
I get where you're coming, but I think you're overthinking this one, man. I mean,
Maybe.
Like I said, this guy's a 1 AA guy. It's just, we'll see. I mean, we'll find out Sunday. The proof will be in the pudding. But I think on this one, without a lot of help around him, missing his center, that's a big thing. When you got the center is the quarterback of the offensive line, right?
Yeah.
And you got a young guy. And someone told me, I don't know if this is a fact, that this is actually the Steelers' 3rd center. I can't remember now that their backup was hurt too earlier in the year. So this is, and that's a big deal for a guy starting his 2nd NFL game.
Yep. Let's talk about some narratives here. With this game, obviously huge playoff implications, huge AFC North implications, huge passing of the torch implications. If the Browns come in and clap the Steelers by 15, 25 points, I mean, what do the next 3, 4 years look like, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, and they traded that one for Minka Fitzpatrick, who had a great start with the Steelers, but the last 3 games hasn't done as much,
He's
right?
not a quarterback. He's not a game. I mean,
Right.
yeah. So
It's
I
just
think narratives wise, this game could cement the future of the next
it's the
generation
Browns
of
and the
fans.
Ravens. Yeah, then it's the Browns and the Ravens division now, right?
Just don't get me
That's
started
going
on
to be
that.
the new. But that's going to be the new rivalry. So yeah,
Sure.
I think you're right. I think there's so many narratives. We have You know what's funny? I think the whole Myles Garrett thing, I've heard some players say this. The fans and the media made a way bigger deal about it than the players did.
Yeah.
Okay, they might get him pumped for like I told you before, a couple plays, but after a couple plays, it's just football.
Yeah.
It's just do what you're taught to do, see who executes better, and who has more talent, and that's who's going to win the game. So that might play, that whole emotion might be there for a couple plays, but then it's just a football game.
The Browns are 5-6. The Steelers are 6-5, and that just blows my mind. It's frustrating. Another narrative, a revenge game, and maybe one of the most classic definitions of a revenge game. The NFL actually met with the Browns and Steelers earlier in the week to make sure that the teams didn't make this a legit WWE style revenge game. Do
Yeah,
you
it's not
see
going to
that
happen.
coming back to hurt the Browns any, Jeremy, this
No,
revenge game?
no. Like I said, after 2 plays, it's another NFL game. The team that executes the better with the most talent wins.
What other narratives do you see from this Sunday 1:00 game?
Well, I think it's a chance for Baker Mayfield to keep, to put another, what do you want to say, just another plank in his board of being one of the top quarterbacks in the league. This is another chance for him to show that he is the guy he's been these last 5 weeks. If he can beat the Steelers again, have another good game, be proficient and efficient, and they win this game, it's a big, big step for Baker Mayfield. You're 6-6, you're square in the middle of the playoffs. They win this game, and it's a big, big step towards Baker Mayfield proving to people. And I think he's already started to prove to them after the rough start. You've heard 2 or 3, even Rex Ryan came out and said, okay, he might have been wrong when he said he was overrated and all that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So he said now he's saying he's underrated. So yeah, it's a big Baker versus their defense. Can the Browns find a way to use both their running backs in this game? Remember, Kareem Hunt has had some monster games against the Steelers.
Yeah.
With his time in Kansas City, right? So that's another one. There's some very interesting things, but I just think that I think it's a time for the Browns to show that they're back. This is legit. And Baker Mayfield's one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
I think you're right. One narrative we see here is the Browns' reputation. Vegas believes the Browns are better than the Steelers. They say the Browns should win. And if the Browns beat the Steelers here, then all of a sudden the reputation against teams like the Cardinals, like the Dolphins, like the Bengals that we have coming up starts to say, oh, man, these Browns, we got to be for real. This will cement them as a team in a different kind of echelon than these other mediocre teams. And I really think if we beat the Steelers, it'll put us in the front running of the wild card spot. I think you can say that's if we beat the Steelers, okay, they'll be better than the Colts, even with Brissett on one, we'll be better than the Titans, we'll be better than the Raiders. I think this will put us in the driver's seat of the second wild card spot. I really do. And so all of a sudden the Browns are a solid team. All we have to do is win this game like we should, and all that sets in motion. Jeremy, if we lose to the Steelers, we always have to do this. It's part of our job. If we do lose to the Steelers, what are the narratives we're going to be seeing?
Fire Freddie. No, I'm just kidding. If we lose to the Steelers, I think I'm a little worried about the Bengals game next week because I think it'll be so deflating for the players. If they lose this game, the playoffs don't look good, right? So then, so the narrative will be, well, are the players going to give up on Freddie? Are they going to keep playing, or are they going to quit? That'll be the narrative. But I told you already, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the narrative after this week is beat the Bengals, get back over 500, and we're in the driver's seat.
Yeah. I think if the Steelers lose, I think that pretty much puts a nail into the coffin of the season and playoffs. I think they will, still probably finish 8-8, 7-9. But I think this will pretty much be the season of what if. So I've talked about that before. Man, what if we didn't lose here? What if the Seattle game would have went differently. I think the season of what ifs, what could be's would really start to kind of take shape here. What if we didn't have Freddie as a coach? What if, it's just this ball that doesn't stop spinning. And I don't think it's going to happen. Kenny Rhoda thinks we're going to win by 30, and he's a huge Steelers fan.
Well, that's because Kenny Rhoda is not a Mike Tomlin fan, as we know.
Yeah.
Kenny Rhoda is probably rooting for the Browns win by 30 to make his case to get rid of Mike Tomlin, right?
Yep.
But I mean, they might blow him out. Like I said, I could see that happen. I could see a scenario where you see Jarvis and OBJ, Jarvis acting like a dog in the end zone again and OBJ pulling them back, right? I could see that scenario just like this past week, because the Browns are offense is hot right now and the Steelers have some issues. So we'll see. We'll see, though. You never know.
Well, that is our House of Hoodies game preview and narratives, your number one source for hockey-style NFL sweatshirts. I'm wearing mine right now. It is super comfy, super warm, and I couldn't be more happy. Super stylish. Use promo code ORANGER at checkout to receive 20% off your entire order. Check out their entire NFL selection online at thehouseofhoodies.com. Again, that's thehouseofhoodies.com. Follow them on Twitter at HOHoodies. Christmas is right around the corner. What better way to say I love you and I love our team than with the House of Hoodies hockey style sweatshirt. Jeremy, keys to the game. If the Browns want to go into Pittsburgh and stomp on them in Heinz Field, what do the Browns need to do, brother?
I think they need to keep doing what they've been doing, which is get on teams early, right? I've tweeted out, we've talked about it. The Browns are like the best first drive team in the league. Okay, they need to keep that up. Because I think if you put 2 touchdowns on these guys, I think it's over. Because like we said, I don't know how they're going to come back. I don't know how they're going to make a big play. So I think it's imperative. I talk about this every week, but I think this week even more to get on them early. If we get the ball first, go down and score, crush their will early, force them to air it out with the young quarterback that doesn't have any healthy receivers. So I would say score early, score often. The second is getting the defensive line healthy and back. Larry Ogunjobi's back. He's going to be fired up to play. They're missing Pouncey, so that'll be a big deal. And Olivier Vernon, Chad Thomas is playing, I think, extremely well. Getting Olivier Vernon back. Olivier Vernon had a big part in shutting down Lamar Jackson when we played them. He played a great game that game. Get him back. He'll be fresh. Hopefully he's healthy. So I think that the Browns defensive line without Myles Garrett playing a game is another big key to this game.
Yeah, getting out early, getting pressure. Like you said, I think another big one would be adjusting with the weather. Looking at the weather forecast, supposed to be 40, 50s, more closer to the 40s with rain. Last time the Browns played in weather like that, it was in New England, and it didn't seem that Freddie adjusted with the weather. I'm never going to forget looking at Nick Chubb's body language after that fumble. He looked defeated, and I can imagine him taking care of the football, but we have to protect the ball and control the clock, run the ball. Let's get in there and really, I mean, that's not, the field's known to being sloppy and muddy anyway.
And actually, they've adjusted that weather for Sunday in Pittsburgh. It's supposed to clear out at game time, so I don't think the weather will be an issue. I saw there, they said rain early, clearing out early afternoon. So I don't think but you never know. You're right, though. If it rains, Freddie has to not be stupid. Remember they threw the ball the first 3 plays in New England?
And then the shovel pass, which is just like –
all the stupid stuff, right. Come out, run it, trust Nick, trust Cream, run the ball if the weather is a factor. I don't think it will be a factor, but we know that is one of the worst playing surfaces in the league. For whatever reason, Pittsburgh's a cow pasture. So maybe if it does rain a lot earlier, so we'll have to see.
Yeah. And then I think another thing we have to do is protect Baker. I feel like of all the teams, the Steelers have a knack of finding disruptive players that can really turn the tide of a game. And TJ Watt is one of those players. We cannot let him do TJ Watt things. And if Greg Robinson really is out with a concussion, they've really got to either run away, do some balls,
run the ball.
Yeah.
Exactly. The best way we talked about this ad nauseum. The best way to neutralize a pass rush is to run at it.
You know what I don't want to do? I don't want to do screens because that mug was going to pick one off.
Yeah, he's good against screens, but we do have 2 running backs that are very good in the screen game. So we will have some screen passes. But I agree. Run at them.
A toss or a swing. Players like him, man, they sniff out screens. And I just feel like every time I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Oh, shoo. So anyway, yeah, don't let TJ Watt have an impact on the game. What are some bold predictions, man, as we bring this episode home?
Well, I think I nailed my bold prediction last week, right? Didn't I say
You
40
did really
points or
good. Yeah.
more?
Yep.
Last 40 points or more. I might even said 3 touchdowns but I'm going to say this. My bold prediction is the Browns beat the Steelers by 2 touchdowns again. I just don't think the Steelers had the horses on offense. If you remember last time we played with Mason Rudolph, they had Minka they had Juju part of the game. Their only drive was 2 long penalties. So if Greedy can keep his hands off the receivers and get his head around, I don't see how they move the ball on us. So I'm going to say my bold prediction, Browns beat the Steelers again by more than 2 touchdowns. I think it's going to be a 28-7, 35-14 type of deal.
Jeremy was kind enough to bring me along to the Browns-Steelers game on Thursday night a couple weeks ago. Had a ton of fun. Jeremy, thank you so much. And one of the things I said, which drove Jeremy crazy, he's like, Chase, don't say that. Chase, stop saying that. Chase, stop. I kept saying, if the Browns score more than 20 points, we're going to win. Or if at any point we're up by 2 scores, we're going to win. And I think that is still true. I look at this Steelers team, and I don't see how they score more than 20 at all. I really don't. And I think if any point we're up by 2 scores, we're going to win.
In this one, I think you'll probably be right, just because of the fact they have hurt receivers, no starting running back down, a young quarterback without a lot of experience or weapons. One thing to watch out for, Duck Devlin, is he does run pretty well. So he can move in the pocket a little bit, not great, but enough.
Well, hey, we have all-pro linebacker Joe Schobert now, so he can stop any quarterback that runs.
And you know what's funny? and I can't remember who wrote this, but I did read an article today that the reason Joe Schobert is so good is he's sneaky in his zone coverages. And he said that's very tough for a young quarterback to see. So they said that could be an X factor, is Joe Schobert sneaking into those windows, those passing windows, and who knows, he may get another pick or 2 this week and cause immense problems for the young quarterback.
I'm looking at the Steelers' schedule. Okay, they haven't scored more than 20 points. They scored 26 on November 3rd.
Against the Colts?
Against the Colts, yeah.
And that was a couple of defensive touchdowns. So
yes, and so I really don't see their offense doing much.
You know what's amazing about that game, Chase? That game would have been over. The Colts were up 14 and going in to score, and what happened? Hoying threw an interception in the end zone that Fitzpatrick ran back 100 yards for a touchdown.
Classic.
Or else the Steelers were done there. Yeah, exactly. And the Colts, who don't have a great offense, on their third-string quarterback, were moving the ball up and down the field. If you remember that game against this vaunted Steelers defense.
Yeah. So I really think
same thing there. Miami had a 14-point lead on them in the first half of that game.
Yep.
Turnovers,
I really think
got them back in it.
If we score more than 20, or if we're up by 2 scores at any point, we're going to win. We cannot allow the defense to keep them in the game. Dude, I think the Browns. I'm going to piggyback off Kenny Rhoda here. One, because that's a cool sentence to say, and I get to say that. But also, man, I really think the Browns are going to win by 30. I think they're going to look to make a statement. I do think the Browns feel like the Steelers are a bunch of – can I say bitches? Can I say that?
You're skirting the line, bro.
I know. Well, as a pastor, I don't know. I'm gonna say it anyway.
I think. Put it this way. I'll say this. I agree with you. I think there's legitimate dislike between the two. But yes. I think you're right. I don't think the Browns have a ton of respect for. I don't think the Browns think they're that good.
No,
I really don't.
And I think they took what happened at the end of that game on Thursday. Like personally, I think they're going to win it for miles. And I think. This is what I can't wait to watch. The victory speech in the Steelers locker room after we win by 30 is going to be epic. We haven't seen one. I didn't see one against the Dolphins. And I was looking forward to one on Thursday night, but obviously with all that happened, they did not post it or whatever. Like they didn't do that. I'm due for a good Freddie Kitchens, everyone hooting and hollering. It's going to be fun. And that's what I can't wait. Browns by 30, suck at Pittsburgh. Y'all suck.
Let's go.
Well, I want to give shouts to our presenting sponsors for this mega Thanksgiving Browns podcast. Aligned Health Center and The Place. Aligned Health Center is Northern Ohio's first chiropractic biophysics clinic. Their mission is simple: to help people in the Westlake and Beachwood areas achieve the best possible health and overall wellness. Also, shouts to The Place. The Place is a full-service fireplace and spa superstore. The Place has been in business for 52 years, all family-owned and operated, transforming your backyard into the backyard of your dreams. When you think of fireplaces, hot tubs, grills, and patios, think the place. Shouts to Old Line Motor Credit for sponsoring our 5 Hot Minutes and House of Hoodies for our game preview and narratives. Jeremy, any final thoughts?
This is what we've been waiting for, right? Meaningful football in December. We've been talking about it forever. This is it, baby. Savor it, love it. Let's go. Let's go, Brownies.
It's Steelers week. You're going down. The Brownies are here. It's our time. Let's go, Cleveland. Let's go.
There we go, Brownies. Here we go.